because so much has happened. Lee, I feel like a million years goes by when Elon touches anything.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's literally nuts, man. This guy goes at rocket speeds. So let's talk about one of the biggest thing that's happened and caused huge outrage and huge headlines all over the place. Lee, a sex tape is about to be released.
We're just gonna go right to that.
Yeah, before we preface here, because we have a whole episode planned out, and it's another crazy one here this week, Lee. But last week we talked about FTX, the whole cryptocurrency thing that just kind of went, belly up. SBF, the founder, and Carolyn, maybe his girlfriend or something, apparently they have a sex tape, and this one person who claims to be an insider of FTX created a website that you sent me here, Lee, fbfleaks.eth.limo, and what it says is just a black web page that says SBF and Carolyn must be held accountable. 11/18/2022, so that's 2 days from now, I think. Yep. Right? That's Friday. 2 days. Their sex tape will be released on this uncensored web page, and then there's a little disclaimer underneath. As an FTX insider who wishes to remain anonymous, it is only right to bring the truth to light. Videos from the polycule will bring transparency and humility to the space. They will not wipe this website. They can't. The puff piece from the New York Times has to be balanced out. Please bring awareness to this upcoming leak. So let's talk about this here for a second before we start, Lee.
The facts, Carolyn. Do you know who Carolyn is?
Yeah, she's a CEO.
CEO of the company that they were like funneling money
Alameda
through.
Research.
Oh. So that was like the big controversy is like technically like that's where Sam Bankman-Fried started out with that company, and then he transitioned to that, and then he was funneling money. Like that was part of their whole thing. Oh. So like it's like scandalous. She's a big name player in this story as well.
Yeah, well, they've had sex apparently.
And here's the thing: when I found this, I was like, "This could 100% be fake news."
Yeah.
But then I thought to myself, "Man's built a website. Like, he could have just said he could have posted this on Twitter, and like a screenshot, like, hey, I'm an insider, and there's just, I'm gonna leak a sex tape."
Nice.
He made a website.
Insider.
It's a website. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is obviously an easy website to build, but I feel like he's creating the infrastructure to stream it.
I really wonder what are we gonna? I mean, only time will tell, I guess, right? But part of me wonders, like, okay, can anyone do this now and get like a bunch of traffic to their website?
I'll be refreshing this page.
Oh, absolutely.
At midnight on Friday.
Have you ever seen Young Gravy's sex tape?
No.
No? It's not that interesting, but just there's something so like weird about watching sex tapes that just feels so like, personal,
Yeah, I mean, it's not meant to be shared.
No.
So it turns like there's rumors around 10 of the employees from FTX and what was the other company? I don't know.
Alameda Research.
Yeah. Having relationships and such. So someone's like, I'm not sure what I'm more scared of. The fact that I'm losing all my money on FTX or the thought of those 10 having sex like in orgies and stuff like in the oven.
It's a polycule, right? And apparently that's like all the people linked through their relationships, usually romantic and or sexual, to one or more members in a polyamorous group.
So it's like an orgy group.
Yeah, like just a group of people that just fuck and hang out and live together. They all lived in this
rob people of their money.
Yeah,
just like
yeah. Well, I mean, they fucked a lot of people.
This is going to hurt a lot of communities: the crypto community, the effective altruism community, and also the polyamorous communities, and they look like some pretty scummy folks as well.
If you look at pictures of SBF, you know what I mean? There's some grimy pictures of him, and I do not want to see that guy's dick.
Yeah. I don't know how he convinced a group of people to sleep with him.
Yeah. Like, I'll give you 1 ETH.
Apparently her kink was like people that have control over the government or something. Yeah, she posted that on her Tumblr.
Tumblr. She had a kink for people that were like powerful enough to influence governments.
Yeah.
So no wonder this guy was like donating all his money to them. People think it's like a big fucking conspiracy theory. Man was just trying to get laid. He's like, how many more dollars, Caroline, do I have to give the government before you'll sleep with me?
Was this like an old thing that she popped out, or did she say this recently on?
It's on her Tumblr profile.
Yeah, someone deep dived on her old Tumblr
and found it. So, I mean, it's facts, bro.
Yeah, no, like, I don't deny that. I'm just like, come on, keep that shit private, you know?
It's weird. And you know what? Well, I guess we'll find out. This whole story was one of the craziest things to follow on Twitter this past couple of weeks.
Is that sex tape taking like crypto donations like on the website or what? Or is it just free?
Nothing. It's just, it could just be for clout, but there's no call to action. It's just literally like, come back here on the 18th and there's going to be a sex tape.
And you're going to watch SBF and Caroline from Alameda Research having sex on video.
But part of me wonders as well, like what it says they must be held accountable. So is this like they have to do something?
No, he's going to hold him accountable on this day. Man is just trying to create some anticipation. Like, I don't think he's saying like do X or else I will.
He's doing the supreme drop of sex tapes.
Yeah, he's being like, it's dropping in 2 days. This is going to hold them. I mean, this is not really holding them accountable. This is more punishing them.
Yeah.
I think, semantics, but
that's interesting.
Do you know what? He should sell sponsorship too. Like the video starts out with like a Bang Bros ad or something like that. Yeah. And the reason I say Bang Bros is because FTX was the arena sponsor for the Miami Heat NBA basketball team, and they had a 19-year deal, and obviously that deal has fallen through now.
Oh no!
So the Bang Bros, the porn website, also put in a bid to become the new naming rights of the arena. So it would be the Bang Bros Center. So the BBC is where they'd play basketball. So maybe this guy, if this guy was smart, hit up Bang Bros for an ad before
Honestly,
the video
Bang Bros,
plays.
that would be pretty freaking
Can
iconic.
Bang Bros afford that? I'm
sure they can.
Yeah. Dang.
Either way, there's a lot of stuff that we got to get into this week. Why don't we just get right into it?
Let's jump into it. Welcome to the Fast Forward podcast. My name's Lee. I'm your co-host.
I'm your co-host, Lewis, and welcome to the fastest growing Canadian tech podcast in the universe.
This week, we're going to be talking about how the CIA is pulling the curtain behind their new museum, and also about how red blood cells can now be made in laboratories.
And lots of news about Twitter, of course, and FTX. It was a massive week here, Lee. I'm also going to talk about some alternatives to Twitter that has been popping up as well. So why don't we just get right into it here, Lee? Mastodon. Have you heard of this before?
Oh, yeah.
So have you heard of it just as of recently?
In the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, since the whole Twitter fiasco. So for anyone who doesn't know, Mastodon has been around since 2016, but it's a decentralized social media network that exploded in popularity as people left their Twitter nest. I wrote that pun myself, by the way.
Well done.
Nice.
Over 500,000 people joined since Musk took over Twitter. So people have migrated over. What the perks behind Mastodon is, which is pretty interesting in theory, is that it lets you create your own server rather than being on a central one. These are hosted by individuals who can set their own content moderation policy. It's open source as well. And so it's a nonprofit and has no ads. Something that was pretty interesting actually is that the source code for Mastodon was taken by Truth Social illegally.
Really?
In some
open source, you can take it, but it's like you can't.
Yeah, there's certain licenses that you can do with it, something for commercial purposes. Yeah, it was an illegal fork of that. So it was interesting, but it just shows how Mastodon already has built a huge infrastructure already for social media. Now, I did write a question here. Will this kill Twitter? And I don't think so whatsoever. I think it's cool that, people are finding alternatives to this cool project, but I do not think that Twitter is just going to go away because, there's definitely a power to a central authority,
Well, how do they pay for running it?
You don't pay to run it. It's run on servers that the community holder will pay. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Say the word.
Decentralized.
It's decentralized.
Yeah. But not blockchain.
But not blockchain.
Yeah.
I see. So you just it's like having your own Minecraft server or whatever.
Yeah, basically
you're responsible for it and then people can join it.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I would say probably it won't be Twitter. I mean, it might have its own cool little community. I don't see it going to zero because it's not like a business that can fail to get advertisers or fail to get monetization and crumble. It will just survive as long as people want it to survive.
I think that's literally going to be it. I think it's already served a purpose for niche communities. Those niche communities are going to stay. Maybe some communities have grown a little bit since this and will continue to grow a little bit. But I think those 500,000 people that left to go to Mastodon, they're not going to stay there. 450, if not more, thousand of them are going to just go right back to Twitter maybe a week and a half later.
Yeah. I see communities being kind of like a YX graph where the bigger the community, the better, but typically it degenerates the value. Yeah. So for example, I could be in a Christian Facebook group and I might have 50,000 people, but my church of 300 people, even though it's significantly smaller, it's much more intimate, right? Which is why, like, back in the day, forums and stuff, people, there wouldn't be a whole lot of people on there, but it was a very, like, tight-knit communities, right? Gaming communities. Like you
more like prevalent figures within your community. You felt like you had more of a voice, but like there was less to listen to.
Exactly. So, like, size and intimacy, I think, are the two things that make a community great. So if it's a bigger community, there's more people, that's good.
Size matters in intimacy is what you're saying.
I set myself up for that. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I think that those two variables matter. And I think Mastodon, the thing it struggles with is that I don't know if it gets much more intimate. Like, is it pretty much a Twitter clone? Like the same type of communication?
It's like exactly the same as Twitter. Yeah.
Okay, so it's the same level of experience, but with less people. And if you're in a niche community, I feel like it's going to be easier to find people on Twitter.
Yeah. Right? I think it's just exactly that. Like, I think a lot of people have been starting to, like, ask the wrong questions here. Mastodon I don't think it necessarily, I think a lot of the ideas is what's cool is that because there's no reliance on ad revenue, it's nonprofit, it's able to do some pretty interesting things, like set its own, like people can set their own content moderation policy. They can make the whole code open source. They can, you have this decentralized network of different, like, you basically have a foundation of whole bunch of social media. So it is cool, but I just think I think it's just different from Twitter. I don't think that it really competes with Twitter as much as it's just kind of another option to communicate. So
you can't moderate it is the one thing, right? Because it's decentralized. But I mean, like, that's kind of what Elon's trying to push for more on Twitter anyways. But like, there's no moderation because it's decentralized.
Yeah. There's no content moderation committee or whatever. And the thing is, like, Twitter at the end of the day is, like, it's just so big. It's kind of the cultural place to be, whether you're a Swiftie or, whether you're following the Twitter saga or the SBF situation. Yeah. Like, it is the town square, right? And certain companies have benefited from this, and certain companies have totally collapsed.
Speaking of, let's just talk about Twitter, okay? We went to Mastodon, peace and love to the open source community. Have a great day. But Twitter corner, let's get to the Twitter, okay? Because so much has happened. Lee, I feel like a million years goes by when Elon touches anything.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's literally nuts, man. This guy goes at rocket speeds. So let's talk about one of the biggest thing that's happened and caused huge outrage and huge headlines all over the place. And that was, again, something that happened with the Twitter verification system that they had since removed now to better optimize it. But one fake tweet has cost this pharmaceutical company so much money, which is funny because here's the thing, okay? Like, I know you can't read sarcasm in text, really, but come on. Are you telling me here that people actually believe that this insulin company is now just going to say in a public statement, we are excited to announce insulin is free now?
I can't believe that.
That's not. And then, so anyway, what ended up happening is that someone obviously made an account, verified themselves using the $8 tweet thing, created the tweet, and they went from what is it, like roughly around $370 to an all-time low of $345, which was about a 15 billion plus loss.
So it wasn't an all-time low.
It was not an all-time low?
No, they were lower in October.
Oh, okay. But still, based off of that tweet, like, that's freaking massive, eh? So it is funny how, like, it kind of had to take, it had to take that kind of effect to kind of, determine that we need to kind of look at this verification system.
The reason it's fucked is because the price went from, what, 370 almost to 345-ish,
yeah.
But it's worth $335 billion. So, like, that percentage of a drop, that's like that one person literally wiped away like a whole nation's wealth.
Yeah, that's freaking
with his one
8
tweet.
bones. Yeah. 8 bones to freaking.
So it's funny because the follow-up conversation that's been now happening is like, wait a second, like, why is insulin so expensive? Yeah. And it's just funny, like, how this company was just like, well, fuck. Like, this is why you need a PR agency, because, like, one day they wake up and someone has impersonated them and claimed that their product is now free. Their stock is now plummeting. And then everyone's just decided now's a great time to talk about why they charge so much for insulin. And obviously, Lewis, this is something that you might know more about, obviously, because you use insulin. So what are your thoughts on that whole conversation?
I mean, obviously, pharmaceutical companies charge way more in the United States than they do everywhere else. It is funnily because, someone didn't go on to like impersonate McDonald's and said, we're giving away free Big Macs, right? What's funny with this whole debacle is that it's kind of like taking a political, and medical issue that's kind of going on and has been going on for so long in the United States, but I've only amplified it based off of a fake tweet. Because again, like I said, if this was like McDonald's is giving away free Big Macs, they'll just say, no, we're not. And no one, like that wouldn't bring the stock down. But because a lot of these companies are doing that, it's definitely worthy of looking at. Yeah, insulin costs. What do I think about it? It's obviously it sucks for someone who is type 1 diabetic like me. For anyone who doesn't know, diabetes is something that you were born with that stops your pancreas from producing insulin, so you have to inject that into it. I think an average dosage of insulin goes for about $97 in the United States.
Wait. Dosage isn't like a single dose?
Not like one unit, but like as in maybe like a day's supply.
Oh God.
Yeah. So like like everywhere else, and again, I'm not entirely sure. Like you need to check the numbers if this is from subsidies given by the government or maybe just cheaper manufacturer, whatever it might be. It's substantially lower in other countries.
Now I did hear I think actually from you that there's like cheaper, like the generic brands because we had talked about this insulin thing before.
Yeah.
And you said that basically that the insulin that was like created by the Canadian who like gave it away for free.
Yeah. It was low quality.
It was like low quality insulin, and then like new, like big pharma basically made like better synthetic versions of it.
For sure.
I mean, probably marked it up a little bit too much, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely.
But is that true from your experience? Have you used the discount insulin before?
No. So I always use the like the good insulin.
You only wear name brand shit.
Freaking peasants, right? Diabetic peasants. But like I've only ever used that. But here in Canada, like this is covered for you anyway. Like if you're Canadian, if you're lower income, or no matter where you are on the income scale, and if you don't have insurance, a lot of it's covered too by the government, similar to a lot of places in the States. Obviously, like that's one of their
we have
trademarks.
Public health, right? So that's
I know Walmart has introduced their own brand of insulin that is like lower quality, I believe.
Okay.
And again, like this is to make it cheaper to the general audience who maybe aren't covered by some sort of insurance, especially if you have conditions already. It's hard to be on insurance that is affordable. But I mean, yeah, like that's a whole issue, right? But it's funny how that is. And that's just one story that has come from Twitter this week.
Yeah, I mean, there's too many to count. The one Twitter tidbit I'd like to add too, this came out I think today, is that, or maybe like late last night, Twitter employees got an email basically saying from Elon, direct email from Elon, okay? And it was like, actually, you know what? Maybe I should like actually read it. Basically saying, Twitter 2.0 is going to be tough to build. It's going to be tough times ahead. Here, let me read the real one. This is too funny. Okay, here we go. It's called A Fork in the Road. He titled it. Going forward to build a breakthrough Twitter 2.0 and succeed in an increasingly competitive world, we will need to be extremely hardcore. This will mean working long hours at high intensity. Only exceptional performance will constitute a passing grade. Twitter will also be much more engineering driven. Design and product management will still be very important and report to me, but those writing great code will constitute the majority of our team and have the greatest sway. At its heart, Twitter is a software and service company, so I think this makes sense. If you are sure that you want to be part of the new Twitter, please click yes on the link below. Then he has a Google form or something. It's like forms.gle. Yeah. And then he has anyone who has not done so by 5 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, Thursday. So meaning like, tomorrow, will receive 3 months severance. Whatever decision you make, thank you for your efforts to make Twitter successful, Elon. So he's basically saying, if you want to be a part of it, it's going to be crazy. If you don't, it's fine. You'll get 3 months severance, which is more than he needs to give them. And he's basically going to watch his workforce dwindle. This might be in response to getting a lot of public criticism from random employees at Twitter that have been publicly posting like negative things about him, and him being like, it's not good for the culture to create that kind of like this environment where people feel like they can do that. Like no one else in Silicon Valley has this problem.
To be fair though, he also brings it on himself.
What do you mean?
Like he brings on the criticism himself.
Sure.
Like he's the one tweeting publicly at how crappy the code is, right?
Yeah, but like all CEOs bring on their own criticism. Every time they make a mistake, whether public or private, they get criticism, but they should get it inside their company.
But it's like, it's different though. Cause like, again, like if maybe, I don't know, like a manufacturing error happens at Apple, sure. Like people are going to be like, yeah, Tim Cook made some crappy iPhones, right? Even though he might not be directly responsible.
Yeah.
Elon's literally tweeting, the code in here is garbage.
Did he say?
He'll literally tweet that it's garbage, and then people like engineers who have worked there for years will literally tweet at him saying, "This is how it actually works, etc." And then he'll literally like freaking feud with them and fire them.
Yeah. So here's the thing though, and this is the thing that I think is confusing to me. And maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, Lewis.
Sure.
But this guy didn't run the company for the past decade. He just bought it, and people knew when he was buying it because he needed to fix it. So he wasn't saying, hey guys, I'm buying Twitter because I love the company, I love the work that you've been doing, and I believe in pushing it forward. He was saying, Twitter's fucking broken, it's a bad business, it's run like shit, there's too many people, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna fix it. So what were you expecting him to say publicly on he's very transparent, like he's a kind of oversharer, like shares everything.
Sure.
Were they expecting him to not be critical about things? And also, like I did read his tweet. He said it was slow in India or Asia on Android.
Yeah.
He didn't say like in that tweet that it was garbage code.
Yeah, he alluded to that. So what essentially happened is that he talked about how first of all, he talked about how there was about 1,200 requests being made in order to load your homepage, right? So 1,200. So that when you connect to the server, there's about 4 requests you make. Yeah. Like think about internet requests, like your touch points, right?
Yeah.
For those watching, and then inside the server then talks to like 1,200 different microservices, or makes 1,200 requests to kind of curate that into your feed, which Elon claims, and I'm not saying he's technically wrong with this, but he claims that that's way too much. But when he tweeted that, he was alluding negative connotation towards the engineers that were currently working on there. And now what ended up happening is that a lot of CTOs, like the CTO from Meta, once replied to him, a bunch of engineers that already worked there, nicely kind of explained to him what the actual reason behind this is and why it's doing that. And he would publicly feud with them and then argue and then claim.
So I've read all his replies. I read all his replies. I haven't seen it where someone's not being malicious and then he's respond maliciously. I haven't seen it once. If you share it to me and let me see it, I'll change my opinion on it. But I've read all his replies, and my take is that here's the way. I mean, I look at it from a scale perspective. So our company's only 10 people or whatever, right? Would we, if we were doing, if Tomorrow Inc. did something bad and I was like, you know what, guys, not to point out Storm here, our production team has been dropping the ball. We're going to work on it, right? And then Storm responds on Twitter, like, actually, Atlee, it's been you that's been dropping the ball or whatever, like something to, not taking the accountability or not and maybe it's right. Maybe the reason that the department's doing bad, let's say the Android, is not because of these engineers' work. Maybe it was upper management or whatever, or maybe it's not even their fault, period. Maybe it's just like, it's the world that's causing these problems. It's environmental. You still sign an agreement, you're not supposed to be doing that in the media. It's like part of the employment contract. And then you still are part of this organization. So you're contributing to a negative, toxic culture where we're just gonna like roast our new boss because we don't like the new boss. So I think, sure, they can maybe be validated in their feelings, but not validated in their actions, which is why they get fired, right? And if you start and here's the thing, Lewis, if you start letting people do it, period, even if Elon's like, you know what, I like that he's like speaking up to me and like he's got this like, maybe this guy's a really competent engineer and I love that. The fact that he did it publicly rather than privately means he now has to take these actions, because what is he supposed to just like let people start doing this? And then all of a sudden it becomes like this culture of, anyone can talk shit about the company publicly on Twitter. And that's the thing, is these guys are getting lots of karma for it. They're getting lots of likes and retweets, and, their tweets are doing really well. And I think, other companies have CEOs that make comments, and other companies have disgruntled workforces. And the process is, and they haven't even tried this yet, is like take it up with internal leadership. They just bought the company 2 weeks ago, right? So to go publicly be like, this guy, XYZ talking whatever crap about him is not professional. And it's also it's a breach of contract. And it's also
we don't know their contracts. And that's what I'm saying is that it goes both ways. Like if you,
it doesn't, he owns it. It doesn't.
But if you are the one that's being negative over social media and confrontational and being just basically arrogant, then like you are the one that's contributing to negative toxic work culture.
But I don't think he pointed anybody out, because remember, again, he bought the company because he said it was run poorly. So he's probably just saying like, hey, he basically said publicly, I know it's slow, we're working on it. It's really slow in Asia or India or something.
Yeah.
So like, I think he's just acknowledging, hey, these are like shortcomings in the company, but I just bought it, by the way, and I got to go fix all these things. I don't think he was saying our Android department's really, really poor, or really bad at their jobs. And I think here's the thing. If it was me, this is what I would do. I would say, hey man, I have XYZ problem with what you said. I wouldn't post it publicly. You might feel differently. You might feel like that's whatever fair. But I think at the end of the day, firing someone that does that is his own decision. And I
mean, it is his own decision, right? But what I'm saying is that he is the one that contributes to negative work culture, not the Twitter employees.
Yeah, I mean, I disagree with it a little bit, because him saying like, hey, I know this app is slow in Android on Twitter. It's like, you could be offended by that if you're like maybe a bit of a baby, but like if it is actually slow,
but it's not that specifically. That it was like his tweet that addressed that it was slow in countries, whatever it might be. Then it was an Android engineer that talked about how like
I read it.
And then it was the reply to that was confrontational. And at one point it says, what have you done
in the last 6 years to contribute to it?
Which is a rhetorical question, right? It's not an actual question. And what it is Elon trying to ratio these Android users.
That I agree with that.
And because of that, sure, like.
But he shouldn't have he started it though, right? He did make that comment, right?
Elon started the whole thing.
No. Elon made a statement about the performance of the app, but the other guy came off kind of like, who are you to say this, blah, blah, blah.
I wouldn't even say that. I felt like he came off as just like, he just explained the situation. And to me, this is also where we have an issue here, where like we're talking about Elon's intentions with the platform. It's like, he said something contradictory, but it was just a talking point more so. And it got him fired. And again, he's not off the platform, so whatever. But to me, it just kind of shows a little bit about Elon's values when he is proven to have at least some sort of confrontation.
Lewis, do you find it interesting that Lee enjoys Elon dunking on Android? Like, is that like it's pretty wild that he's on that side, right?
Yes.
You know what it is for me though? It's that if I was in his shoes, I couldn't do it differently. If someone was like, if I just bought a company, and then people are like publicly like, displaying that type of behavior to the boss. It's like, I want to be here. Me and Elon are totally different types of managers, obviously. Yeah. But like from my own perspective, regardless of my approach, I want to be a good boss. And to be a good boss, I need to have, people buying into the culture that I'm creating. And if they don't like it, here's the thing this is my bottom line is, if you don't like it, if you think that your boss is being toxic, then you leave. You don't continue to like try to sink the ship. Because your coworkers work there, there's families that are a part of the organization. Yeah. He just bought it. So like the respectful, morally high ground, I guess, approach would be, hey, I don't like how he said that, and because of that, I'm taking my talents elsewhere. To go and like breach your contract, to go and break probably the code of ethics as part of being on Twitter, and to publicly try to shame the CEO or whatever, or the owner of the company, and hurt the company as a whole. That to me is like, it doesn't benefit anybody.
But the thing is, he didn't try to publicly shame. That's the difference though. Like I can understand if like Elon came in here and he doesn't know anything, then like, okay, sure. I understand why maybe there's offense there, but I find that just the way, and this is kind of both the appeal and kind of the negatives of Elon is that he tweets. Like, it's him behind the phone.
Here's what I'll read it. I'll read it for everybody so everyone can shape their opinion. This is Elon's tweet. By the way, I'd like to apologize for Twitter being super slow in many countries. App is doing, and then he says, over 1,000 poorly badged RPCs just to render a home timeline. Exclamation point. Okay, I won't miss that because obviously those nuances are important. And then his response, hot take, I have spent 6 years working on Twitter for Android, and I can say this is wrong, period. No explanation why. So basically saying, I've spent 6 years working at Twitter, and I can say this is wrong, period. That's what he said. And he's adding Elon. So what do you have to gain there? You're just basically saying, I've been here for a long time. He's wrong. You didn't say why he's wrong. You didn't email the owner. You just said, I can say this is wrong. And then he said, then please correct me. What is the right number? Twitter is super slow on Android. What have you done to fix it? So obviously it's really confrontational, but I would say, and again, you could disagree, him saying, by the way, I'd like to apologize. Twitter is really slow in many countries. It's doing over 1,000 poorly badged RPCs just to render the timeline. I don't think he was trying to shit on people the same way this Eric guy that works for him, by the way, right, and has been employed for this organization by 6 years, the way he's trying to shit on Elon. That's my hot take. Yeah, but you might disagree. You might think that...
I disagree. I think Elon was the one that's confrontational, but you guys let us know in the comments. What do you guys think? I
think ultimately it's just going to leave a lot of bad blood.
Oh, I was going to say, before we move on to the next one,
nice.
Can we say at least Ligma is back?
That's so funny.
And Elon actually admitted his wrongs. He said,
what a good way to respond to the criticism.
Ligma and Johnson, important to admit when I'm wrong, and firing them was truly one of my biggest mistakes. I'm glad that Ligma and Johnson are back. Like, I really do. Like, I knew them personally, and they did a lot to the company.
They tweeted saying that he actually he thought they were going to just get photos with Elon, but they actually sat with him for like 20 minutes and talked about the future of Twitter.
Oh, wow.
So it must have been like an iconic moment for these two guys.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I mean, how much is this? It's like they got 421 on, like, how many likes does this guy? Like almost 700K likes.
Yeah, I see like 699,000
Dude, that's huge. Like, that's a viral moment.
Dude, if he didn't tag them though. Like, I would have been like, I'm like, God damn it, we would have had like so many more followers if he just tagged us.
Bro just wanted all the clout.
Well, actually, when Ligma was let go from Twitter, I say with air quotes for people that are listening, he actually took a job with FTX, and he posted a video that he was down in the
Bahamas.
In the Bahamas with the brown box on the beach, being like, I've only been here for a month, and so it's good to see he's back on his feet at Twitter HQ now.
Dude, that's hilarious.
I saw one person tweet Elon saying, this is like basically what you got to do to, run an awesome company, blah, blah, blah. And then he goes, you know what? I'll put my money where my mouth is. And he's a CEO of his own tech startup. And he goes, I'll come work for Elon for a 12-week internship for the cost of living in SF. And then Elon responded being like, sure, let's talk.
Oh my God.
So this guy was like, somehow got a job. Like,
yeah, no way. Like, I mean, hey, he went viral. So why would you not want that kind of person?
This is not
Ligma?
No, it's not Ligma or the Johnson guy. It's a totally different guy.
Oh.
But I thought it was kind of random that he was able to do that. But you're right, Storm. Definitely,
a lot of bad blood.
There's Twitter, the evolution of Twitter is going to be a bloodbath. That's for sure. And speaking of, Lewis, you were just earlier mentioning about the insulin. Obviously, that's not getting cheaper anytime soon, but red blood cell transfers maybe.
Oh.
The first ever clinical trial of lab-grown red blood cells has been transferred into another person. So this is a pretty big deal, obviously, because there's a huge discrepancy between the demand for blood and the amount that that's supplied for these folks. I wanted to get some like numbers on this just to get an idea of how big of a problem it was. So before we talk about the tech, just to kind of create some context. Global blood supply was estimated to be around 372 million units, but the demand in 2017 was 303 million. So there's about a 30 million discrepancy in blood units, and that's across 119 countries. So, I mean, there's obviously a huge demand for blood, and I don't know what you do if you don't have the blood. Like so what happens is apparently in rich countries, they donate like over 2 times as much per person.
Okay.
So, in Canada, for example, if someone needs blood, we don't really hear about it very often. Like, someone needs blood, they just get the blood or whatever.
Yeah.
But in poor countries, it's like less than half the people are actually doing the service of sharing blood.
Yeah.
And then they need it even more. And another surprising stat is that in, Western countries like Canada, the average age of a transfused patient is over 60 years old.
Wow.
But in these other countries, it's children under 5.
Oh my God, that's sad.
Yeah. So it's like a totally different need. So like here, we're like giving up our blood for old folks, and there they can't even give up their blood for like children.
Children, yeah.
They're not, and maybe and obviously there's different reasons for that, right? They're working really hard. They're malnourished, like in these like developing or underdeveloped countries. But that's to like kind of give you guys some context about just how bad this blood issue is. And basically what they were able to do was they took these blood donors, and they took half the blood they donated, and then they took the other half and they split the stem cells from the blood cells, and then they like in a lab grew a whole new batch of fresh blood cells. And I guess this is something I never knew was a thing, but I guess like all your cells on your body are like aging at different rates. You guys know about that. You know how like your tongue like is replaced every like month or something?
Really?
Stupid? Yeah. Have you ever seen organ regeneration rates before?
No.
Like your entire body.
I was
like,
wondering why I had 2 tongues last month.
Nice. All of our organs, like our skin and internal organs, your tongue, etc., they regenerate and they have different rates. So I think like maybe Storm could look it up, like how often your tongue regenerates. But like they like all the cells that are inside of your body are individual. So something I didn't realize is that when you don't like donate blood, you're giving them like some that are like nice new blood cells, but then you're giving them some like ready to die blood cells. So you're not giving them like
the cream of the crop.
Yeah, it's like a blend of like some that were freshly minted and then like some that were, that have been doing work for a while and won't last very long. So
every 1 to 2 weeks for the human tongue.
Bro, that's what I'm telling you, right? Is that not nuts?
Yeah, that's why I freaking taste things differently.
Well, you know what's interesting? When you burn your tongue, you guys know that sensation you get left on your tongue after you
after
burn
spicy food?
No, like a hot tea or something like that.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Burn. You know how there's like that sensation that like you can't taste things on it?
Yeah.
It like killed the cells. But like, you know how like a couple of days later it's completely gone?
Yeah.
It's because you're getting a new tongue, right?
Holy
it's like,
crap.
It's regenerating every week. All the cells that are right in your mouth right now will be gone in a week.
Wow.
And you know what's kind of crazy? You swallow those dead cells. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. You don't spit them out.
Num.
You eat your own tongue.
Yeah, it's like I don't need dinner tonight.
But yeah, the blood that we donate when we donate blood, it's not always pure. So what they're hoping is that the lab grown blood will actually last longer and the patient won't need a new transfusion for as long. So we are solving 2 problems. We're making the quality of care better because people that need to do this a lot don't have to make as many trips to get it done. And then also we're going to be able to close the gap on blood period and getting blood and just you see the campaigns. People are always like doing the blood drives and trying to get people to donate their blood. That could be a thing of the past, but not for quite some time. As mentioned in this article and many others, the organization that manages all the blood donations is like, please don't stop donating blood. We are super far away from we don't want anyone to get the wrong idea.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, it could be the rise of
that's awesome. It reminds me because you know how people, you always see online, like there's a new article that says, scientists have just discovered the cure for insulin in dogs, right? And then people will be like, oh, the cure for diabetes is coming here in 5 years. But it's been like that for 45 years.
Yeah. I mean, I've sent you a couple links in my own time, just
and it's
look, Lewis, look, and you're like never fazed by it. You're like,
yeah, I've read this one a lot. I mean, the thing with diabetes is a bit off topic. It's just funny how like people like respond to it, right? Like they'll try and like have like a relatability moment, right? They'll be like, "Oh, you're diabetic? Yeah, my great uncle's diabetic. He freaking had his leg amputated, And it's like,
thanks.
Yeah, thanks for letting me know. But I mean, I think this is insanely because it's funny to think how many issues there are worldwide that I feel like doesn't affect me, but actually is just a worldwide issue.
Oh yeah,
especially it's almost privileged in a sense to think that this is not an issue for me, and it's pretty awesome.
Well, seeing that stat where it's like people here are donating blood like more than twice as often, and it's mostly going to old folks. It's like look at how well we take care of the
elderly.
Yeah, but like in these countries where they're like 5-year-olds that need the blood.
That's just sad. Why should a 5-year-old ever have to go through that?
Yeah, it's messed up. So hopefully we can see this technology move forward in the future.
Yeah.
And you can find iron in blood, right?
I was gonna say is like, but when you need a tetanus shot.
Oh yeah.
When you touch a rusty knife.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about an iron oxide with the rise of rust.
So yeah, what is rust? Is rust just like the shit that goes on my trampoline when I don't put it away in the winter?
That's right. Programmers have found a way to use that.
So, Lee, what do I do for a living?
You make videos about coding and you code.
Yep. So, I'm a big programmer and I am always keeping up with the world of tech. And a huge trend right now is the Rust programming language. Let me tell you a little about it. So the Rust programming language is an extremely fast programming language that focuses on performance and security as well as developer experience. So 70% of security vulnerabilities in applications, which just by the way, I just searched this up today, cybercrime is going to the amount that cybercrime has costed the world is going to be $10 trillion by 2025.
Holy cow.
So like security vulnerabilities is like huge, right?
Does that include the tweet? The insulin?
No.
Is that included in those numbers?
No, that's the intended result. 70% of security vulnerabilities come from memory safety bugs, which Rust aims to fix. So a lot of tech companies, I mean, obviously cool. You guys are probably thinking, yeah, nice. Like that's cool, right? Like just build software. So Rust has been ranked 7 years in a row in the Stack Overflow survey as the most loved programming language. But I thought I would add this little tidbit in here to open up the conversation to you guys. So a lot of tech companies have emerged just from creating tools that have already existed, but rewritten in Rust. So a little history lesson.
An example of this.
So like a little history lesson here. So you know how we kind of migrated all of our apps over to the desktop, right? Like Gmail, Google Calendar, Asana, whatever. Everything's basically on your web browser, right? Yep. It's on Google Chrome. Well, a technology was built to basically put your website into like a browser application. So like Asana, for example, if you download the desktop application for it, what it is just basically bundling Chrome into a desktop application and then launching a fresh version of Chrome at the same time. Now Chrome, extremely memory heavy, right? That's the meme. So if you're running Asana, Gmail, all these freaking apps, you got like 20 different versions of Chrome running. Now where Rust has it is that they're trying to replace that by having the integrated environment just run in a Rust-based environment instead. So it should run much faster. So I guess it kind of opens up the opportunity to being able to make things run faster.
Can I just say that I always thought Rust was like a shitty language because the name? Like,
yeah.
I've heard the term Rust from you over the past several years. You've mentioned it
for sure
in like conversation passing. I had no clue what the fuck it was, but when you mentioned it, I always kind of associate it with like C++ or like some just like
that's the competitor. Yeah.
Oh, is it? Actually?
Yeah.
Fuck, that's funny.
But I mean, C++ is like a god amongst languages, right? It's like a high learning curve, but like you are manipulating the memory like at such like a micro level. Rust is like more user friendly, but kind of aims to get in there.
Well, the thing is, the name Rust sounds old and like rusty.
Yeah, like if I said, "Oh, that's Rust," like what do you think of?
I don't think fast and efficient and secure. I think a busted chain link lock.
Yeah,
that's
it's like
old.
It's like Drake with your old man. You know, you got crusty, rusty, dusty, musty.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
I mean, it would have been cool if they had named it something like
Steel.
Here's the thing: programmers and marketers. They're just like
different people.
Actually, I saw this hilarious meme where it's like there's two types of people who are like innovating like tech sectors. There's like the Steve Jobs and the, fucking Jeff Bezos, like these people who are like visionaries, right? Who like come up with these things. And then there's like, Terry fucking Smith who just like creates this like little compiler for the C language that like every single person has like built on top of. And that's what's funny with software is that everything is built on top of each other. So like you have like, this one little maintained package that all these things, are depending on. And if it doesn't get updated, then it's literally like destroying entire ecosystems. A little interesting thing there though.
Speaking of destroying entire ecosystems, like what happened to crypto this week again?
I'll let you guys talk about what you've seen from FTX. I feel like it's been covered on a lot of different things, and there's a movie coming soon and all that kind of thing. So
I just want to see the sex tape.
Yeah, the sex tape.
Do you want to see that though?
I do. Like, I'm not gonna lie here. I want to see the sex tape. I'm not gonna like enjoy it.
Something funny I saw before jumping there, Storm.
Yeah.
I saw the movie. I saw like people talking about the movie, and have you seen Caroline and have you seen Caroline in SBF's picture? Like,
yeah.
You know Caroline, what she looks like too?
Yeah.
Okay, so someone was like, I can't wait to see the movie starring Jonah Hill.
Oh, in the Superbad?
Yeah,
like
and then it was the girl from Game of Thrones, like that looks like Caroline. Like, hold on, is that your meme for this week or no?
No, it's not.
Okay, I'm gonna send it to you.
I did see it though. Yeah, it's she's been in a couple other things.
Oh, is it the girl that fights, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Maisie Williams, that's her name.
Yeah.
But what's her real name?
Oh, like my
This one
actually,
right
yeah,
here.
yeah,
This-
yeah.
This girl right here. Isn't it play Caroline? I thought that was so funny. I'm like, that's so accurate.
It's so accurate. Anyway.
So to feed into this movie, lots of good movies are based on books. And a famed author, Michael Lewis, was actually hanging out at FTX. He was embedded in the organization for 6 months. So people lost it when they found out that he had all this research that he's been doing of the company. And all of a sudden this blows up.
Oh my God.
Every movie studio is hitting him up, being like, we want the movie rights. But this author he created, he wrote Moneyball, The Big Short, The Blind Side, so very successful movie adaptations.
He wrote those?
Yeah, he wrote the books, and then they were built into film adaptations, right? They're all based on real events, but...
Oh my gosh.
Dude, that's like that would be epic.
Well, like, look at the whole... There's also something a bit weird here. Moneyball was about, like, them gaming the sport and, like, you know, and being really effective with their spend rather than going with the superstars, etc. The Big Short was about a hugely corrupt...
Like recession.
mortgage issue with, you know, the banks, the financial system. And then The Blind Side, I mean, forget about the story. Like, people got blindsided. You know, it's like this is like the culmination of all three.
No,
it's like
The Blind Side is the.
I know it's about the football player.
Wait, he wrote that book?
Yeah.
Apparently, but I'm
So
saying
wait,
this story is like the culmination of like
all three?
blindsiding the financial industry because this guy was gaming money.
You think FTX wouldn't let him in, knowing that they were doing scandalous shit?
That's what I
And
mean.
then,
Like this guy needs a chip in him.
Yeah.
We need to find out where this guy is every single day.
Or SBF maybe. Also, by the way, I heard on on My First Million that we can't call him SBF anymore because that sounds too cool, and this guy is a loser. So we have to call him by his government Samuel. His government. We have to use his government name. So.
I saw a funny tweet as well where it was like, because you know how he like kind of like looks like a nerd and like this whole like
Kind of
concept
looks like a nerd?
yeah, sorry, like this whole genius persona is kind of personified now as like kind of eccentric, like just wears a shirt, lounges all the time. I saw a tweet. It was like, we need to bring back bullying nerds.
I saw that girl tweet. I thought that was so rude. I was like, no, bullying is not okay. Like, nerds, I mean, this is what bullying nerds turns them into SBF. Samuel. When you bully, he obviously was bullied, which is why he's a sociopath. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you heal people by bullying them.
Well, here's the thing, okay? Zuck, like, do you think Zuck was bullied?
100%.
I don't know if he was.
Dude, Elon was bullied. Elon was bullied bad.
The Winklevoss twins bullied Zuck.
No, they just sued him.
Yeah.
Bullying.
That's mean. That's bullying.
That's bullying, apparently.
But isn't that hilarious? Like, it's not, I mean, it is mean, but
I
like,
think
it is funny to
it's
think
funny that we
like,
need to start bullying nerds again, but I think it's totally wrong about it. It's just like, no, like you need to like start being like,
we need to
just
go
nice
back.
to everybody.
No, it's kind of like, would you kill baby Hitler? Would you go in the
No.
past and kill baby Hitler?
Because killing somebody and bullying somebody totally yields different outcomes. If you kill someone, whether good or bad, their outcomes are null. If you bully someone, their outcomes are going to be more negative. Hurt people, man. Come on.
Yeah. So you're saying you would go in the past and kill SBF?
I would say I would go in the past and I would nurture him. His two parents that were teaching at Stanford
But
probably
he
didn't
did-
raise him at all.
He probably was raised by a nanny.
Yeah, it's probably why he wants his parents to pay attention to him. You know, Mom, Dad, do you see me now? Do you see me now, Mom and Dad?
Like, we're going,
Trending on Twitter.
we're going like,
You see me now? I'm hiding in Hong Kong, Mom and Dad.
I'm in a polyamorous relationship now.
People want to kill me. My sex tape's coming in on Friday.
You'll see me now. See my fucking dick.
Yeah, like this kid has clearly been bullied. He's struggling. He needs to be loved. He needs to be loved.
Maybe you should make love to him.
He let Michael Lewis hang out with him for 6 months. So we're gonna get a pretty in-depth
I can't wait
movie
for
about
that.
this.
That's gonna be such a
and
good-
book.
I hadn't even heard about that, Storm. Good tidbit there.
Yeah, pretty cool. And well, speaking of like some crypto dealings, I already mentioned the stadium thing with Bang Bros, but
Wow.
did you see that the last big crypto controversy around Luna, Do Kwon? You guys remember him with Luna?
I don't.
He was on a live stream with Martin Shkreli, who I know Lee knows or whatever, and
Yeah.
and Martin just straight up goes to him because like Do is on like the loose basically, and they're like trying to figure out if he's gonna go to jail or not. And Martin Shkreli just straight up on the live stream, he's like, "Yeah, jail's not so bad, man." And he's like, just telling him about how it's like not so bad, but it was just kind of funny, like a big baller move of Martin Shkreli to just be like, because Kwon obviously thinks that he doesn't want to go to jail, but like, that's not that bad, man. Like, don't worry about it.
Shkreli's honestly like a new man ever since he came back from jail. He's like so zenned out.
Hopefully they lay off of that. Just like Amazon actually laid off so many employees. Okay, let's talk about Amazon for a second, okay? We're talking about CEOs a lot today. We got another big boy here, okay? Amazon prepares to lay off 10K workers. This is Armageddon for the tech industry, dude. Armageddon. But hey, there's good news in all this because Jeff Bezos announced that he was preparing to give away the majority of his wealth while he was still alive. Reports emerged that Amazon is preparing to lay off nearly 3% of its workforce. Overall, the personnel adjustments will impact approximately 10,000 people in corporate and technology positions and are expected to start as soon as this week. So it is interesting how, they did kind of announce these two at the same time. It's like, all right, we're going to lay off 10,000 people. And then I think there was like a funny video too, where like he kind of announces it, but it's so hard to look at this guy and take anything he says seriously. Cause he is a funny looking dude a little bit.
Jeff
Bezos. Yeah. I'm sure he'd be a really nice guy if you talk to him, but he is just a little bit of it's
I'm not so sure of that. You think Jeff Bezos is a nice guy to talk to?
Well, I mean, I think I'd go up to him and say, hey, Jeff.
Like Bezos, this isn't like Musk at all.
I'm sure Elon Musk would be nice if you go up and talk to him.
Yeah.
Right? But I mean, I'm just saying.
I've heard Bezos is a bit weird. I never heard anything bad about him, but
look at this freaking picture and tell me this guy does not look like a fucking turtle.
Yeah, he's an odd looking dude.
I actually saw that video with his like new wife.
Yeah.
And she's just like kind of chilling, nodding, and he looks so buff. His voice got deeper too. I think he's like on testosterone pills.
Probably.
Or something.
Oh, probably, man.
Where do you think you could get those testosterone pills? Like from
Amazon? Yeah, Prime delivery.
Well, Amazon Clinic now.
Oh yes, thank you for bringing that up. Wow, geez, he's ahead of those transitions. So Amazon Clinic. So let's see. So they actually announced this. So Storm, it's actually funny because you did say something like you obviously was doing this in real time. It was a leaked clinic, but just shortly, a couple days after, they actually announced it. So it's a virtual health service that delivers convenient, affordable care for common conditions. So Amazon Clinic will operate in 32 states and will provide virtual health care for more than 20 common health conditions, such as allergies, acne, and hair loss. It just sounds funny because it does sound like a little bit like an MLM, you know what I mean? But
there's so many on here. So birth control, eczema, genital herpes, erectile dysfunction, male hair loss, motion sickness.
I think that, here's the thing. Okay, we can talk about how do we talk about like healthcare and like every single one of these freaking topics?
Yeah, true.
So weird. Anyway, we can talk about the current state of how it sucks, how the American healthcare system it's a bit divisive, right? But like Amazon, if we know, they have been able to bring the price dramatically down for a lot of people. So this might be good, but I'm not entirely sure. What do you think, Lee?
It reminds me of like cost plus drugs. Just like I think innovative people using capitalism as a vehicle to make it more affordable to people. Mm-hmm. I think one of the biggest, there's lots of gaps in capitalism where it's not worked effectively.
Yeah.
And I think healthcare is one of those gaps where it's like, why is it that the Americans pay more for healthcare than anyone in the world? Mm-hmm. Why? Because capitalism, like they pay the least for food, they pay the least for like everything.
Yeah.
But they pay the most for healthcare. So
arguably the most expensive one, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like the most expensive for healthcare. So, seeing Amazon come in just to add some value, be disruptive. I think it might be good for their. I don't know. Do you get this shit with Amazon Prime now, or is this like you get audiobooks and doctor visits? And
it's funny because
one-day shipping. What's a weird blend of services?
Well, I just thought it was kind of interesting here, and this is almost a bit of a shift in topic. Green Shield. So just to let you guys know, we're insured. We have health insurance. Green Shield, reach out if you want to do some sponsorship here.
Green Shield Canada.
Lee and I are insured. I went on to submit a claim because, diabetes, I got that. And they are offering part of your subscription is a telehealth thing. They have enough liquid cash to probably create an insurance company. Imagine Amazon Prime insurance.
Oh, that'd be epic.
Health insurance.
I'm looking at it right now. It's like online shopping. I clicked cold sore. And then it goes like, what state are you in? You can just pick a state. I'll just click Michigan.
Okay.
and then it's like Amazon Clinic is available in Michigan, and I just like click. It's like like look at the screen. Like it's like a checkout field, I just click on, there's one $35 option, and then there's one that's $30. So I'm obviously gonna click the $30 one, and I start questionnaire, and now I need to log into my Amazon, and I can just get rolling. That's crazy. That's
something I do love about, like, at least the modern day health kind of thing. Like, I just love being able to use technology to to just do things easily. I don't like going to doctors.
Well, think about how much time this will save. I mean, also, it was $30, so it's like pay for service. So you're paying for convenience, even though you could get it for free, maybe through your insurance provider.
What do you think about Jeff Bezos?
I think he's like a pretty chill dude. I have nothing wrong to say about him.
No, I mean like giving all of his wealth away.
Oh, good for him. He doesn't know what to do at this point with his money, right? And this is what I like to see is like, people like Warren Buffett, and just like I think the real greatest builders that we've seen in our history have all been doing, like, they're mission driven. Like, I think you can get really, really rich, like Forbes level rich, out of greed. But then at some point it's like, when he was in that garage selling like books online, like, I don't know how badly man's wanted to be an ultra billionaire. I think his motivation was just like to build something really big and epic and cool. And like, obviously wealth is part of that, but I just don't know if where he's at today was ever his original goal. So giving it all away, it's fucking cool to me.
It's also like a philosophy too, right? Like the amount of damage, like the amount of money you've damaged, or the amount of money you've made, like damaging society, I guess you could say. It's good giving back to it at least, right? So a lot of the times these companies or these CEOs, they'll create their own charity, and then that's what they'll donate most of their money to. Zuckerberg, not a couple years ago, but like when he made he got into a lot of controversy because he scheduled a charity that was not like, they didn't have to show where the funds were being donated to. So
it's like a tax escape for some people.
It absolutely is.
Bill Gates has the Gates Foundation too, right?
Yeah, so. All the billionaires do, right? Yeah. So it's kind of like a weird thing because again, it's like, you're right, like it is just a huge tax break, but at the same time too, it's like this money is going to different initiatives, right?
So they should get a tax break.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like when we donate to charity, we should get a tax break too, right?
Yeah.
Well, I know we do, yeah, but I mean, like, it should be.
It's same across the board. Across the board. Yeah, I agree. I'm curious to see what he ends up doing. I know his wife, ex-wife, pledged all her money, but she wasn't doing anything like entrepreneurial. So she was like ready to give up. I think for him, he's also like now at the end of his career. I feel like.
Yeah, well, he's now the chair, right? He's not the CEO anymore.
So I think he's like ready to make the same kind of transition into being like a retired entrepreneur kind of thing.
Yeah, he's getting old, like a museum.
So speaking of museums, Lewis, I don't think Jeff Bezos is quite old enough for the museum yet, but the CIA has just recently opened up their museum, which apparently was only for family members and agents only, to the public, but not in person, only digitally, which is kind of weird. So they made a series of videos, and you can kind of like learn about the museum that way. But they basically renovated the whole thing. There's a couple, there's some cool tidbits to it. But my first take is, like, if I want to be a spy, I'm picking CIA dead last now because it's corny.
Is that?
Yeah, like the idea that they have like a museum, like, kind of demystifies it in a way that's like not cool anymore.
What's cooler, Lee? Interpol in the metaverse or the CIA museum?
Oof, they're all losing their coolness. I might have to be. What's the Russian one called again?
The KGB.
KGB is the only cool one left.
Yeah, that's like truly freaking intense.
Literally the only cool one left. Like, watch the video. Maybe don't play with the audio.
I'm skimming it, yeah.
Yeah, but like, look at this guy. He's a dork.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's called the debrief behind the museum. I'm like, this just made it really lame. Like, look at the little miniature figures and the little buttons, and they put all this cool like Morse code on the ceiling. I'm like, this feels like a spy gift shop.
Yeah, it really does. Honestly, I'm the same way. Like, I really wish this was cooler.
I wish it was like a giant room of files, and it was just like weird fluorescent lights, and then 20.
Dude, literally, like if it was just like a white fluorescent room with like 3 or 4 items, or like, how Google Arts and Culture does their thing where you can like go on the website, you click on a picture, and you can like see like a high res image. What if they just did like a 3D like scan of it, and you can just view everything in 3D on a website. That would be way cooler than this.
This feels like it's for children, and it's like, you guys assassinate motherfuckers. You know?
Yeah, you like
can we get this a bit cooler?
Yeah, you know what they would do to be really cool with this? We will reveal how JFK really died.
Yeah,
Give
me some real juice, you know?
Yeah, or if they said that, actually that'd be a kind of a cool thing. The CIA museum. It's like, around here we've scattered clues that will tell you the real reason JFK died.
So here's the thing. They actually did code the whole ceiling in like domino code, tap, Morse code, ciphers, etc.
But it's probably all cap.
It's probably, but here's the thing. This is what makes it even more uncool.
Yeah.
It's probably going to say something like, congratulations for cracking the code.
Yeah.
And like, don't forget to use code STORM25 at checkout for $25 off of your SPY gift bag.
The shit is fucking Nancy Drew, man.
Yeah. So to me, I'm like, their goal was to demystify like the CIA, because I think people perceive the CIA like from the movies and stuff
as like intimidating, but let's make them that.
But here's the thing: what was wrong with that?
Yeah.
Because like, no one wants to fuck with you because they're like so intimidated, and then every kid wants to work for you. Now, kids are going to this museum and going,
"Yo, this sucks."
Paperwork. This is the thing too. They're only showing declassified missions, so there's like 20 cool stories there over like the course of like, I don't know, 100 years or whatever. It's like, I don't want to be a spy anymore. This sounds lame. So I feel like they just hurt themselves.
You know what? I think it's the FBI. I think the FBI is like the new, like, CIA, whatever. It's the FBI now.
But the thing is, like, the CIA is like international spies. The FBI is just, Federal Bureau of, like, they just like do like local, like, in America shit.
I love that.
No, they do it everywhere.
Do they?
I think, yeah. Like FBI's.
I thought that was like specifically their jurisdiction. I thought CIA was international, and then the Federal Bureau of Investigation was federal.
I always feel like FBI, like CIA is like whatever. FBI is like, yo, if the FBI is involved, like, holy crap.
Yeah, like, holy crap, if you're like a drug dealer and like Houston.
No, like anyone, like anyone in the United States, like basically FBI over everyone almost.
But if CIA is like, you're going to like Paris and like making out with this like counter spy who's a KGB and who's double crossing her team and like has a jewel, and you like have like sunglasses with like the ability to see through people's clothes and shit. Yeah. Like, that's CIA.
You know what?
It's such a horny situation. Kissing and seeing through people's clothes.
All I got in movies growing up was like the spies got laid. Okay,
Dude,
the spies got laid.
Lee's still thinking about SBF and Caroline. He just hasn't left his brain this whole podcast. He couldn't get it out of his head.
The notion of us bringing this up even right now could be dangerous for us.
Absolutely, yeah. Speaking of Notion, maybe we should get an AI to dub our voices, and then maybe we should record that on a software called Notion.
Dude, that clip you sent me today, dude, like, tell us about Notion.ai.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, if you don't use Notion...
Wait a second, are you just doing this to plug your link? Is that why we're doing this segment on the story today? Because the show notes better have my link.
But wait a minute, what did you put the second link in there? There's two links. One that says notion.so/AI. The second one is an affiliate link.
Is that my affiliate link or is that yours, Lewis?
It looks like your freaking affiliate link.
It's Lewis's.
Is it Lewis's? Okay.
Yeah, make sure you click on that one.
There was a battle in the office today. You guys want to explain what happened?
Yeah, you tell us about Notion, then we'll talk about our affiliate link.
Okay. Just to let you know, you should go to notion.so/product/AI WR equals DDA 9798 DC 789D.
I'll just put it in the show notes.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah.
So if you're not using Notion, okay, then you probably are still laying in bed. Okay, so Notion organizes your life. It basically does everything. It's almost like the brand new version of like Office tools. I mean, Lee, Storm, how would you guys describe it?
We're literally using it for this podcast right now.
Yeah.
Every episode that we've ever done.
It's a great way to organize information, to write, to be creative.
Store data. Whatever it is.
It's an amazing
right?
tool.
So anyway, they recently just announced Notion.ai, and what it does is it takes this text ability, and I think it uses something like OpenAI to be able to do a lot of like artificial intelligence completions for you. So in the video, they talk about promotion ideas, 5, and then there's like the little prompts, right, that you're used to seeing on these AI tools. I'll say like, you can write 5 ideas for this promotion idea, and it will literally generate for you. And this can really speed up your process, like with writing your first draft for your blog or creating a meeting agenda with all the stuff that you've written. Like there's a lot, Lee.
We could write a description about this week's episode where we talk about SPF, or create a blog post talking about the Elon Twitter takeover.
Yep.
And it's going to grab stuff from the internet and use its AI to write stuff for us. And the reason that I think I'm looking forward to this is because I use Notion to write scripts and to come up with website copy, and like I do so much writing in there.
Me too.
And now I can just get Notion.ai to kind of like speed up the process of like ideating. Sometimes I find like just getting a start and then editing that is easier.
It's so much better,
Than starting from zero.
Yeah.
0 to 1 is very difficult, especially for writing. So this is going to be hugely impactful for us. I know that AI copywriting has been a thing for quite some time, but at Tomorrow Inc., our teams haven't really adapted AI copywriting yet.
Oh no. And here's the thing, Lee. Okay, let's kind of get off topic here with AI, but let's talk about Notion as a business already on its own. So Notion has become huge over the last like year or two. Where do you see it going in the next little bit? There's been a lot of imitations. I know Microsoft made a dead ass copy. There's definitely like, everyone trying to copy into their application. I think things like Notion AI is making Notion really stand out in front of the competition. What do you think, Lee?
It's an amazingly well done product. Obviously, the team there is really like very inspired, and people are copying them. So I think that's a good sign that they're going to continue to innovate, because they've built in this, like, I mean, look at this Notion AI feature. Yeah, it's built into the DNA of this company that they're going to keep coming up with these ideas. Where the other companies, they don't have that DNA, they're just going to copy. So that's number one, working for Notion. Number two, they did raise and are valuated at $10 billion. They're actually one of the most valuable private companies. Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah, in tech. Yeah, it's like in Silicon Valley, they're like one of the most private, up there with like Stripe and SpaceX.
Oh wow, no way.
Yeah, it's
that's interesting.
Yep.
Do you know what? Sorry, continue.
Oh, I was just gonna say that's basically like it's got. So here's the estimated revenue to make $67.2 million each year, and then they boosted its annual revenue with 36% more than the previous year. Team size is somewhere between, this is pretty broad, 100 to 350 people, and they started with just 12 employees. Wow. So I mean, they raised $340 million in 2019.
Can we talk about too, like, when it comes to software? Okay, so the big one is Microsoft made their own version of this, but something I love about Notion, there's a bit of a charm to the software. I don't know what it is. Mm-hmm. It's a really simple looking application, like dead simple, but there's just such a charm to it that just makes me feel like I enjoy using it.
I like it too.
Versus like, I feel like if I tried the Microsoft one, it's just some like bland corporate friggin' like,
Honestly, Notion might be my favorite tool that I use.
Yeah, it might be mine too.
It's so great. So seeing this AI feature come into play, it's great. And also, if you're listening at home, we want you to try it out too. There'll be 2 links in the show notes. One will make your dick bigger. The other won't. Mine would be the first, not the latter.
Have you guys ever clicked on a link on the internet? There's a lot of links on the internet claiming to make your dick bigger. And that's the one you usually don't trust. So you might have harmed yourself with that.
Yeah. They always click to see. They always, no matter what, doesn't matter how many scams they've seen before, they'll click and to read the reviews that have been cherry picked. And
so I'll tell the story from.
So do you click the links then?
No.
Do you need to make your dick bigger?
No. But if you're at home and you want a nice link to click our link, Storm, why don't you fill them in?
Yeah, so today Lewis shared that Notion AI was coming in our group Slack, and then Lee responded to it with his referral code because he wanted people to sign up using his code. And then Lewis pulled a fast one and then tried to take it out of the thread and
into the general chat
with his own code to get everybody to sign up with his. Lee
because
responded
you
to that code.
Go up on the wait list. Yeah, like if you...
Is that what it is? Okay,
yeah,
I figured there was an incentive for you guys.
Yeah, you join the wait list.
We wouldn't destroy our friendship for nothing.
Yeah. you join like a wait list, and the more people that use your affiliate link, it boosts you up in the wait list.
I figured there's something going on.
Yeah, so we were fighting for... Here's the thing. If you're at home, you let me know. Lewis put it in the general Slack chat. I feel like that's like a breach. I put it in first. You know what? He did share it with everybody.
Wait a minute.
If he replied,
I did it first.
No, I did it first.
No, I did it first.
Check the thread in the timestamps. I did it 2 minutes before you.
In the thread, I did it first. I did this.
Did you edit your message, bro?
I did not edit my message. I already sent. So you got it at 9:43, and I did it at 9:42.
Oh.
Wait,
No. He replied to your before that in the thread, Lewis, when you mentioned Notion.ai. In that thread, he responded to
Get
it.
on the wait list, y'all. Check the thread, fam. And then, I came in first.
And then Lee shared his again because he saw that you shared it. Put a bunch of disturbing emojis on yours so people wouldn't click yours. And then he sent his and he said, it may get you further up on the list if you use this link. And so they were battling it out. I noticed something that their links to sign up, referral links, where it says part of the code says, or the hyperlink says equals copy button, but mine cut off, so it just said equals copy butt. And I'm like, Lee, are you saying that Lewis is being a copy butt?
I was like so confused at first.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. You got it now?
Yeah, I got it then.
Okay, yeah.
I saw
you got it then.
So I was like, he took a screenshot of like, and then I like looked at the domain and I was like, okay, there, I get it. And I sent the laughing emoji. But
yeah.
I was like, only Storm would like look in that weird domain of string and find the word copy butt.
So someone was being a copy butt. I think it was Lewis.
But I'm 8,000 in line, Lewis. So I'm kind of sad.
Where are you in line?
I'm like 7,800 or something.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, Lewis, you have an entire army, man. I don't know why you're not.
Yeah,
just
why?
Them the
Yeah,
code.
don't
need to take the 9 people in the office here when you have.
Yeah, let little old me climb up the ranks here, bud.
That was the battle today.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Let's
You guys got a little snappy with each other there. Want to head over to the little snips?
Yeah, we got snappy, so let's snip.
Let's snip. First up on the snips, we got someone dropped $218,000 to buy Steve Jobs' old Birkenstocks. A record sale for sandals sold on auction. What do you guys think of this?
Bro,
I'd sleep with those every night. I'd lick the soles.
Bro, you'd probably do something to those
I'm kidding.
shoes.
They look disgusting. But you know what? We just talked about this last time on the pod, or previous episode, about Elon Musk's old things going up for auction. And I just think that these guys are like athletes now. These great entrepreneurs are like athletes and superstars, and they're starting to get that like value assigned to their collectibles.
It's hilarious because I feel like all Birkenstocks, like a lot of people I know own them. They all look like this. They all have that imprint at the bottom. I've actually owned Birkenstocks before, and they're the worst shoe of all time. Maybe they are seriously so uncomfortable, and I know that you have to like break into them, but I almost broke my feet on them.
Really?
Yeah. So
I remember you used to wear them.
Yeah, some people like swear by them, but yeah. So
people are questioning this as an investment. $218,000 a lot, but I was thinking about it. You could easily put them to work and start making money. You just hit up some of the top OnlyFans creators. You do feet pics and Steve Jobs Birkenstocks. That sounds like a quick way to make your money back, right? Like,
yeah,
I think he's onto something here. You have to take them on tour.
Yeah,
probably.
Take them on, and they might get dirty along the way too.
Yeah. Next up on the snips list,
awesome.
we got the world population finally hit 8 billion.
Wow, yesterday?
Yesterday, as in November 15th, according to UN projections. So we've tripled since 1950 in population. They're thinking that it's going to peak at 10.4 billion in 2080.
nuts.
Think about how long it's going to take to get to 10 billion.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. It's weird because, you know, it took us that much to triple, but to get 2 more billion, it's going to take that long, or it's going to take.
It's because our population's collapsing a little bit, right? And because the boom happened when we were like farmers and rural folk, and now we are hippies and condos that want 1.7 children per family.
Yeah.
So, you know, this is, I mean,
if we can make it cheaper to live, I bet people are going to be popping babies up the Wozniak.
well, actually, the richer you get, the less kids you have.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a direct correlation. So it's actually the more poor you are, the more kids you'll have.
So
Yeah.
Nick Cannon is very, very poor.
Probably with those child support payments. Yeah, the affordability this doesn't have any merit, economically speaking. Like most of the countries that have the population growth still are poor, and it's mostly because they're more focused on family. Richer countries,
They're just bored.
Yeah, bored. Yeah, richer countries are like, I just want like a couple kids max.
Well, also there's no birth control over there.
Yeah.
So like, what do you do?
Well, it's actually not the reason. So it's actually because there's so countries that even have like that do have safe birth control, whatever else, that are still not like quite rich. So like developed. So countries like India for whatever.
Sure.
It's not just their poor populations that have smaller families. It's like, it's a cultural thing. Like specifically Muslim families are really big too. Even though even in Saudi Arabia and shit, it's different. But Western countries, they just like to like have time for themselves. Want to go on cruises and like travel, and, like have people over for drinks in the evening. Yeah. It's just like a different lifestyle.
They're gonna go right at Lewis with that. Likes to go on cruises. Goes on trips to Chicago recently.
I was talking about Lewis. Like a lot of people go on cruises.
No, for
Lewis
sure.
is actually still like before the age of having children, right? He's maybe gonna have that next chapter pretty soon.
But it's pretty funny because if you think about it, like 27, like I'm 27 now, about to be 28, but that's pretty late. Like for someone in the 1950s,
back
probably.
Then, they have them earlier, right? And that's also part of it. Having children earlier and then a bigger priority on family over leisure. All these things play a huge role in the culturally speaking.
Do you think religion has a big aspect of it?
Yeah, I think there's a direct correlation with religions and how many kids they have and kind of their belief around
like what the higher purpose of having children are.
Yeah. I also just think I think culturally it's huge. I think if you grow up in a culture where like it's super family oriented like in South America, for example, you'll see that, or in Africa versus like here where it's not as much, people's parents, they just throw in old age homes. A little bit less so, but it's just crazy to think. I remember I watched a video many years ago and the guy was predicting that like the world would plateau at 10 billion. It was like, I might have watched this video in like 2012. And it's crazy to see that it's going to peak at that number and it's probably going to stay there. So this guy, whoever that guy was, I think he did like a TED talk. He was right on the money.
Yeah, for sure. And next up, we shared astronaut.io, which did well in our shorts. And I think that we're going to try and find some cool online tools and share them on the pod. Cool. Just something fun to play around with every week. This week we got portmanteau. You guys know when you take two words and you combine them into one word, and you see it done a lot for, like sometimes cringy company names, but sometimes it works quite well. So there's this website called Portmanteau where you can add up to 5 words. So you guys can toss in a couple words here, whatever comes to mind, and see how it combines it. I think they only combine 2 at a time, but they at least give you a few different combinations around there. So portmanteau.com.
I interrupted. I said dog, house, grass, and cat. Dog house, house dog, dog grass.
I did OnlyFans, Birkenstocks, Steve Jobs, and then the letter I.
Nice.
That was good.
And the letter I.
Like I Birkin.
Yep.
I Birkin Steve.
I Birkin Steve. That's great. That's gonna do well in the Norwegian Pornhub category. They're like, I Birkin Steve. Yeah. So
crazy.
Fun tool to check out there.
Cool.
I think that's it for the snips.
That is a snippy snip.
We're gonna head over to the meme, and I actually have a.
Let's see the meme.
Oh, yeah. I actually have a link. This meme is gonna be a couple little images, but it's all revolving around our Twitter story with the fake tweet. So a few other people had fun on Twitter Blue before it was shut down, where they could change their name and get verified for $8. First up on the list, we have Nintendo of America with a blue check, with just Mario standing there flipping the bird for a Twitter reference there.
Could you imagine opening up Twitter and just Mario's fucking flipping you off?
It's just he's so casual about it too. And he's looking you dead in the eyes too. Like look at his eyes, looking at you dead in the eyes.
Like, it's just funny to think that Nintendo
made you something like that.
Yeah, Nintendo just thinking like, you know what? Fuck these people, man.
And then next up, this one is actually a layer 2 meme, because you have obviously the Insulin company apologized for the fake tweet. So you have someone pretending to be Chiquita, the banana company, and then they go, "We apologize to those that have been served a misleading message from a fake Chiquita account." So you're like, this is pretty legit. And then it goes, "We have not overthrown a government since 1954. Leaves a little bit up to the imagination there, but
this is gonna be forever remembered as a pretty funny time. Yeah. I was telling in the group chat, I was like, guys, Twitter reminds me of Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah,
Call of Duty, because there was so many bugs and it made it fun. You know what I mean? It was like things that you'd want to exploit, and then they would only last for a week and then they would be gone. Yeah. And it was like this constant it was entertaining that it was being built in public kind of thing.
Oh man, that was too good. That was a good one. Wow.
So what do we need from our listeners now? if you found this episode humorous, like we're saying, is a funny time to be alive, I think it's a funny time to be listening to this podcast.
It's also a funny time to follow us on all of our shorts platforms where we take
that would be hilarious.
Tiny little moments and we edit them to be very comedically entertaining, and we condense them to save you time on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube Shorts. So go follow us there.
Follow us there, and make sure you subscribe to us on anywhere you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever. YouTube even. Yeah, follow us there. It's going to be funny. Storm edits them pretty funny. So yeah, if you're listening, make sure you give us a 5-star as well if you really enjoyed this, and let us know as well what you think about this whole Twitter situation. Was Elon in the right or was he in the wrong?
Do you love him or not?
Do you love him or do you hate him?
Thanks for listening, everybody.